I try to think that the business must be always focusing in reasonable returns and thinking that the gold mines are only for the people who lucky to be the first in something, but a business where people think that is going to win tons of money in a very short time is a business with no future.
Hello and welcome back to the Hypercube Podcast. Today I am joined by Antonio Rojo, who is Head of Storage at Greenvolt Power. Antonio, thank you so much for joining us today. Please, could you start by introducing yourself, how you got to where you are, and what you're up to at Greenvolt?
Thanks to you, thanks to Hypercube for the invitation to this podcast. I have been watching some of the episodes. I feel that it's an absolutely honor to be here. Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm exactly head of storage in Greenvolt Power. Greenvolt Power is a multinational company in the pure sense because it's distributed between different countries in the decision and in the working task. The company is mainly based in Portugal, but also we have offices in Spain and in Warsaw, and a lot of smaller offices, commercial offices in all Europe mainly. And the company is not it's young because it's 4 years old, but it's not a company who was born from scratch. No, it's not a company from an idea in a garage. No, but it's how the big companies in Portugal and in other countries focus the funds they have in renewables, focus also some portfolios in a common management team, and that's the reason that the company have grown very quick. Because in fact it's catching the effort of companies who have been in the sector for more than 15 years. And currently I work for supporting the utility scale projects that we are doing both in Europe, in the United States, and also in Japan. And from my perspective, what we try to support, first of all, is business development. And after a project is approved, we support in the procurement, in the construction, trying to provide the technologies knowledge to the decisions.
Amazing. So it's such an interesting comparison to a lot of the guests we have on are very GB centric, and just hearing about what goes on the continent and how things are changing. It's always nice to kind of contrast and compare and see similar stories, differences, especially with asset mixes as well. I mean, much windier up here in Scotland than it is down there. I guess I'd love to know, like at Greenvolt, so we get so much these days, there's so much chat about storage and the way it works over here. What's your experience at Greenvolt working across manufacturers and the kind of developers you work with? Like, what's the feel for how storage is going in the market from where you sit?
Yes, the change. I changed from the technologies to developers 4 years ago, approximately 4 years ago. And I think that this just fits also with the transition of the batteries to be, limited to a set of projects, to be more, publicly accessible to a lot of schemes. Then my transition also is like in the throughput of the sector. Having from 2010 approximately in storage, and at that moment, we were very focused in very specific needs. Spending a lot of relative capex in the project was justified for usually for technical reasons, because the project could access to very good fees, or because it was mandatory for achieving a stable behavior in a critical system. Then for 10 years, I can say that 90% of the project were more focused in very single operations. Since I can say 2019, 2020, with the first launching process of big procurement in UK, here in the United States or in Korea, the battery business shift into a more, related to the solar, wind, and distribute renewable energies business. Then has been very curious how this have been. I think that is multiplied by 10 the number of people who is engaged from 10 years ago to now. Very, very curious. And in the development, what I say is that in 10 years ago, you need 2-3 weeks to explain a team what to do in the storage, and today you only need 2-3 hours because the supplier are providing to you most of the critical components, because the main supplier in the sector have a big maturity in commercial terms. 10 years ago, some of them never sell nothing out of the factory, and for them it was impossible to understand the request of the final customer because they were near to an OM, no, a company. Then I think the sector have evolved drastically in this time, and very, very fortunate to be in both sides in this evolution.
That's amazing. Yeah. I guess like it gives you a unique perspective in your experience, because you've worked across development, construction, contracting, the handover, like you've seen all the hairy, scary bit of building a site. What, in your opinion, is the bit that goes wrong most commonly? Like, where do teams get into trouble?
I think this could have been changing a bit because at the beginning the main problem was always related to understanding the degradation versus what the project need to do in terms of revenues, in terms of performance. No, and explaining that you can go to 1 cycle to 4 cycles per day simply because it's more profitable, no? But there are physical limitations in the battery, or that if you try to overcycle, you will reduce the lifetime. I think the most relevant point at the beginning, for a global perspective, was the fitting the battery real capabilities to the best business case, no, related to these limitations. Nowadays there are other problems. One of them is that the procuring batteries continue to be a very difficult thing. You need to have very secure technical requirements. You need to have very clear project schedule, because battery continue to be a sensitive element, and you can store in a place for 6 months or 1 year if something fails. No, and now I think that the most sensitive point is not more in the business case, but in the project execution and fixing all the elements to not to avoid problem in the connection. I think there are some others, but these two for me are the most sensitive.
That's interesting, yeah. And do you think like the engineers, the asset managers, the techies that work with batteries think the same way as like the investors, or is there still a disconnect between the kind of stakeholders in a storage project?
Well, I think for some years there was a big problem in this transition, especially because of and this is something that I understood better in the past years, because most of the projects required for finance, not required bankability conditions. And sometimes what you achieve in the project technically is not enough to get this finance, because you require a warranty, you require a contingency plan in case that the things are not good. Then from finance perspective, from investor perspective, what they want to see is as a more safety project as possible. Also in all the condition of the battery, while from the engineering perspective, sometimes they are more focused in covering, for instance, safeties, covering technical electrical requirements. Then it's difficult. But most of the companies today work in how to say business start by the business people and finish by the business people. Then I think that in general the communication channels are very clear. My experience in my company is very good. Everybody is very well aligned on this. But let's see.
Yeah, okay. So is that the same across all geographies as well? Like you've got such unique experience.
Of course not. Of course not.
No, yeah, I was going to
No,
say.
absolutely not. Depending on the maturity, this sort of projects in every geography, in some places is how to say more wild, more. It's, there are less restriction, for instance, technically, or are more. It's more easy to make amendments. It's more easy to adapt the project to the technology, while other places are absolutely regulated in a very, how to say, procedural mode, no, very protocolized, no? And I'm thinking, for instance, and this is not bad, okay? This is simply philosophy, but it's impossible to compare how to do a project in Australia and how to do a project, for instance, in some countries in Latin or in Central Europe or in South of Europe. In every place, ways to manage for it, going to the ready to build are absolutely different, and also the difficulties are different.
Like, you might not be able to answer. Do you have a favourite geography? Do you have a least favourite? Something really controversial.
Okay, now I prefer those geographies who don't force me to awake too early or to sleep too late.
Yeah, like GMT plus or minus 3.
Exactly. What if you, for instance, and this happens sometimes, need to talk with people from the United States, for Japan, at the same time, at the
Yeah.
end, you can continue doing that for too much time. But no,
Yeah.
no, not favorite. I look more project by project. For me, it's more what projects are more interesting or less interesting.
Is there anything actually that stays consistent across geographies that everyone kind of is aligned on globally?
Yes, I know. First of all, I don't know. I have no calculation on that, but by intuition, I can think that 80% of the project are done by same teams that are doing globally. Most of the projects that are being now built are or in China or in 3 4 countries. The skills for the big project are very concentrated in not too much people. No? Then I don't think so by that reason.
Okay. And like, obviously being in the GB market mainly, subsidies and like government influence plays quite a big role in some markets and some asset classes. How do you find subsidy schemes affect storage projects from the design through to performance?
Oh, affect drastically. For instance, UK project, first project, were supported by a public scheme, no? And that was like a first promotion, simply to make people or make big business lose the scare, no, on this sort of project. This was 1 year of a promotion with the first innovation project in the, I don't know, 20 and 18 or something like that. After that, these same companies did the new generation of project without subsidies because UK have very well defined revenues. I don't say that are very good, but are very stable. But there are some countries where, especially those countries who are out of big coins, no? What are not euros, dollars, or something like that, because you need to secure this exchange rate. And if you have any sort of subsidy, any sort of fixed revenue secured, this make you more easy to manage this finance. No? This is one point. And the other point, of course, is that if you have a business case with a number, you will obtain very easily the way to proceed. No? If you have a reasonable investment return, the business could be good or could be bad, but there will be one company or one type of company who will consider attractive for their way to make business. Then the question is if that a lot of people they do is we want to introduce projects that are dependent on subsidies to survive. No? People doesn't like industry who depend on subsidies to survive. In that sense, I think that the batteries, I think most of the projects under construction now in Europe and United States or in Australia doesn't have any subsidy. I think we change from this first condition to a new one where the projects are profitable without any sort of subsidy, but it's required yet in some places because if not, people want to put the money in the more secure business.
Yeah, of course. And it's not like wind where there's no small project. Do you know what I mean? Like with batteries, especially, like, yeah, go back 8 9 years, and you were getting 5 megawatt sites, and we were learning, and even they were subsidised, but you could test it and scale it slowly. Go to wind or offshore wind, and it's totally different. Okay, you get small onshore wind,
Yes,
but
exactly.
yeah,
Offshore wind is a very sensitive business in terms of this because it's potentially is don't need, but by the nature of this business, you need to be very close also to government because it's very complex development. It's by far, I think, one of the most complex development business compared to, as you mentioned, the storage, who doesn't have a land impact, doesn't have a, it's very scalable. It's a full different concern.
Yeah, and so you can see why an industry like offshore wind just is always going to need things that are going to support it and help. Whereas, yeah, it's a different story. It means we can hopefully learn more agile in the storage world. We can kind of adapt quicker and reach a mature state of play earlier, but we're not there yet, I would say, from my experience.
Yes, in the especially in Germany, Poland, and countries in Central North Europe, offshore is very relevant because the wind, especially in the North Sea or in the Baltics, is very constant, and you can have a 24-hour energy. In the past years, the sensitive to be as a self capable of having energy is bigger in those regions, especially. Then, but the problem is that you need to fit that 24-hour generation with in the right moment, no, in the right place, and energy like offshore, for instance, required to have a storage capability to make their best. If not, they will waste an important part of the energy in moment where it's not a critical source.
Good fun though. I mean, yeah, it creates lots of good work for us. And from where we sit, so we obviously approach all of these things from a data and AI software perspective. And I'm obsessed with the tooling in the space and how there's lots of established, like, good to talk about wind. There's established software, there's processes, it's kind of mature, and there's big teams that know what they're doing. And then you come to the storage space, and it's, again, it's like the Wild West. It's like everyone's scratching their heads looking at like tools that maybe work for wind or solar and trying to shoehorn BES sites into it or build mixed portfolios. What's your experience of the tooling and the software in the space for storage? Are there any like golden nuggets that you love, or do you feel like me, there's a long way to go actually on that side?
No, there are very interesting tools nowadays, but also a lot of things to do. Okay, on past year, a public entity in Europe, I don't remember the name, published a comparative between software for sizing storage, making a ranking, and from the most common to the less common, etc. I follow, and we try to check all the tools. From sizing perspective, my opinion, but is the one we are following at this moment. From sizing perspective, if the project is standalone, is not complex from tool perspective. It's more from what is the maximum sources available in terms of capacity to share, discharge restrictions, etc. But with very easy tools, you can adjust, I to say 95% of the final. If you are working on microgrid or distribute grid with more loads, or of course hybrids, in that case, having very good tools start to be critical, because you start to have a lot of variables, and it's more difficult. And in the next future, the grid forming is starting to be a request in a lot of projects. Also for a standalone, it will start to be an important issue, because you will have to make more dynamic analysis based on where you are connected. Then the complexity will be bigger, as the battery is asked for doing more things, and in hybrid critical, and in non-hybrid probably will be the difference in the next future, to see the hidden problem that a location could have. But no, I think, but in any case, tools can be related to a lot of different aspects, because you can go to the pure sizing, you can go into the revenue evaluation, you can be in the potential curtailments. And what I don't see very clear is that there are not too much tools who integrate all in the same decision tool. No? Then you need to have a lot of different sources at the same time. But it's very good. And I'm talking simply in the project development. If you go to project execution and project monitoring, of course, in that part, software is the different. Absolutely. Is the different also to demonstrate that your project is reliable, and is the different to make manageable a number of projects. No, if you start to have, we have now, I don't know, in general, in Greenvolt, I don't know the number of projects we have, no, several gigawatts, but in storage, we could have now in Europe in next year 10 projects that are in the 500 megawatt or more in storage per project. Then it's impossible to manage all together without very powerful tools who make very good analysis. It's not critical because it never was critical, but what will be a good difference to make this 5%, 10% improvement.
Mhm. And are you building those tools in-house yourself? Is that like your secret sauce, or are you stitching together like tools and software that you're buying in?
Well, uh, first, one tool that I use a lot for making quick calculation and is free is the SAM from Enrel. I love this tool. It's very easy to use, make very good initial assessment for a lot of configurations. Then, and because it's full free, you can distribute inside and outside that you can share all the element, and it's offline. You don't need to have an incredible cloud structure, etc. Then this I advise that because it's for free, it's not compete with nobody. It's good. It's in dollars. It's for United States, but for making calculations, it's okay. But from that point where we did, how to say, a very quick insight, we have our own tools. We have developed our own tools, and we especially because for energy market, for continuous market, is more or less easy. But when you start to mix with frequency markets, with secondary markets, and with other, is more complex, and that exactly that's the point. Then in the for preparing the battery system to catch the most of the battery of the revenue stack is where we use our own tools.
Well, if you need any help, or it'd be remiss of me not to say, as someone that's built capacity and secondary market tools for probably 6 years now, 7 years, I'm happy to take a peek and share some horror stories about the fun of developing software in that space. I guess, like, it's obvious then, right? But what's your read on how data and AI can impact the output of a storage project?
Well, on past year in Greenvolt, we created an specific position only for managing all the potential tools and all the potential improvement in energy control from the construction and operation locally to the trading and optimization. And from this position that is growing because we have now 3 people there. Yeah, we are, of course, we are full focus on that. And I think that for companies who want to retain assets for some time is at this moment. Apart from that, is very relevant and mandatory because I think that this will not only make the project win money, but the companies will save also money because I think that the potentiality of these tools with very few resources applied is Samsung, no? And at the same time, the number of tools are multiplying. It's impossible to monitorize all that is in the market and what is more or less suitable. Then, yes, as I mentioned, we started on that just on probably 1 year and a bit more. And this area is only focused on operational and development software for the best.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a space obviously we know well and I think about all the time. And do you feel that that's because of your scale you can do that? Like, whereas that is an advantage you have as Greenvolt, you've got the scale to be able to invest in internal teams and internal tools that's really going to give you that edge over much smaller asset management and storage teams.
Well, first is achieving a good capability on those tools is so important, like having on power converters or in batteries. No, at the end,
Yeah.
it represents an element. I say that the element in a system are like the part of a chain. No, it doesn't matter if one is more expensive or less expensive. If any part of the chain broke, no, then it's so sensitive in terms of safety like any other part. Then first, what we have this is simply because it's critical to have expert to decide when we choose a solution. But apart from that, of course, because for instance, we are analyzing not only Greenvolt have different divisions and companies inside the group, and we are not only developing projects in utility, we are developing projects in all the scales. I think this is something that is singular for us compared to others, because we work from 1 kilowatt to for instance, the project we are going to construct now in Poland is 3 gigawatt hours in storage in a single project. No? Then, and all is in the same company, and one of the business is making a platform of projects from a lot of scale into a single platform and making the optimization of all the system in the same structure.
Amazing.
Then yes, it's absolutely. I think companies need to have these skills. I don't say how to apply at the end, but this is something that needs to be fresh inside the company and to be understanding any moment what the company can do with the asset we are working on.
Or find some friendly consultants that can maybe come along and.
Yes, I don't say with this. I don't say that need to be factory skills. Of course not. And that's in my opinion. And I come from very big companies with a lot of resources. This is not healthy because to say it's important to have core skills, but those especially regarding to TI, you need to be very open to understand what is doing another people, because it's impossible to be the best in all the things at the same time, and it's more, in fact, from money perspective, it's more cheap to let others to do the work, and you simply hire the system, the services when needed. Then, of course. But the idea is having good driver inside the company, and we see a nice car, we catch, but we can understand what is the best car we need to catch. Okay.
100%. So we used to have a slide in one of our decks that was like, we'll build the car, you race it, because there's so much of the tooling that you're talking about. There's so much commodity plumbing stuff that, like, a market integration is a market integration is a market integration. Like, they're all the same, really. It's not adding, you have to do it. It's not competitive edge that you've got it. You just have to do it. Do you want to be investing in your internal secret source team doing that, or do you want them actually thinking about the stuff that's going to give you advantage? So no, I wholly agree. To shift gears a bit from the kind of the software side, what about the hardware changes that have gone on in the last 5-10 years that have got you most excited, or any hot takes or things that you think about the way the hardware, lithium and so on and so forth is moving?
Well, in hardware, we divide into different elements. In power converters, of course, there are new demands. I think that there will be a new jump in the conversion technology with the new, for instance, some very big companies are moving from EGBTs to MOSFET, no, to different semiconductor technology with bigger cycling but most of the functionalities in the power conversion that we are using has been invented in the past 20 years, no? And the big difference in hardware today compared to 10 years ago, I think, is more that there are more and more companies with a product installed in gigawatt scale. No? 10 years ago, we can say only 5 companies in the world could be considered a big scale, and now there are some dozens, no? And then the maturity there. Of course, there are technological innovations a lot. And adaptations. Everybody is now moving to new cooling system. Everybody is now moving to also for instance, the PCS at the beginning was a power inverter for PV adapted to the battery, you know, in most of the cases in utility, and they have personalized it more and more and differentiated more and more the machines depending if it's solar or it's BESS, and now there start to be a big divergence between the both two, no? But core functionalities, I think, remain similar. Where there is software also is evolving a lot. Like anything related to software is evolving a lot. I think there is a bit of hype with the artificial intelligence. Only a few companies, and could be yours also, are really integrated and catching real advantage of the AI. For most of them, it's simply a level not to be out of the of the conversation. But in general, ENS have evolved a lot. Also 10 years ago, non-companies have PPC, sorry, the power control of only the inverter supplier can provide, and now it's public. The big change, in my opinion, is the battery.
Yeah.
It's change it in all levels. Change, when I procure for the first time batteries, the supplier only provides cells, and you need to make the modules and then the racks and integration and all the cooling system, and you were not provide. The only thing they provide to you was the voltage status and the current, but with no degradation, no cure, no limitation, warranty 1 year. Then what from scratch, no? And the project, of course, maximum warranty was 7 years in the best of the best cases, no? Warranties plus lifetime, because the warranty lifetime was in that case in the same line. And from that have been evolved, start to be to module level, after that rack level, especially Korean companies start to move into utilities seriously. After that, the other companies in the world and the Chinese boom. And today you can procure an integrated system with a lot of capability, lot of how to say, final business focus elements to the cell producer or to very mature companies. No, I'm thinking in Europe, for instance, companies like SAF or Fluence, and also in some Chinese companies. And it's incredible how this has evolved. And from the cell perspective, the core is like comparing with mobiles or with I don't know, with computers. Simply, what you can see in the past 10 years is every 2 years the technology achieve. No, this is the Moore law, no? With, something like Moore law in a lot of the element of the battery in the past 10 years, and making more easy, more reliable lifetime. Of course, the battery is more safety every time. It's amazing. And the big jump could be in the 2016, 2018, when they start to be procured first of all by SAF or Fluence and some other companies, no? But now I receive by LinkedIn every day a catalog from a new company who is trying to sell the 5 MWh blocks or something like that.
Yeah.
Then and this is thanks to the reliability in all the levels.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, there's another shipping container with another thing in it. Like
Exactly. New
different type.
tire, a new tire one every day.
Um, okay, like kind of last one from me, I guess. Where do you think the biggest untapped opportunities are in Europe today, if you're allowed to share?
Well, no, it's not a secret, because it's not something that I say and people go immediately, because I think it's simply that the business need to catch more maturity. But there are different untapped opportunities per segment, no? Because it's not the same case in less than, I don't say, 1 MWh than in the biggest one. In the level where we move, of course, another hype, data center business will correlate a lot of storage demand. You see that only a few days was approved, no, and confirmed the law in Ireland regarding how the data center need to behave. At the end, in a practical way, it will be mandatory that the data center need to have batteries. This is not an untapped business, but it's a business which in the 5% yet of the or less of the final capability. And another untapped business that is complex is those related to the interconnection between countries, because at this moment it's very clear that the energy which is produced in the south of Europe is not yet well used in the north. There are a lot of grid restrictions, grid limitations, also other interests, but also between countries. No, for instance, from Czech to surrounding countries, no, to Poland or to Germany, or at the end there is a lot of potential of energy transition between them. And at this moment, this interconnection is done based simply in energy from production to consumption in the same time. No? And I can imagine some countries who can able to achieve lot of energy they are not using because not enough industry to demand in some hours or similar to that. With a storage, you can create very interesting buffers between countries and reducing a lot also the grid investment. I think this could be a very, very interesting business for the future in storage.
Heard it here first. Very exciting. It's just if anyone's got to spend $1 billion and a team of about 15 people, then they can jump on that hot take.
Yes, I try to think that the business must be always focusing in reasonable returns and thinking that the gold mines are only for the people who lucky to be the first in something, but a business where people think that is going to win tons of money in a very short time is a business with no future, not the end. Then it's but in a regular basis there are a lot of business to be done yet with the batteries.
Well, Antonio, thank you so much for today. Before we let anyone leave, I always just like to ask one question. If people in our audience would like to hear more from what you've got to say, learn more about Greenvolt, or if there's anything you would like to promote or plug, where should we send them?
Well, first of all, I'm in LinkedIn. My name my name is common, but it's not the most common. If you look for LinkedIn, you will find to me. I'm very happy to talk with anybody who wants. But for talking with Greenball in a general way, we have our webpage with the contact form, and also we have big offices in Lisbon, in Madrid, and in Warsaw, where we have a different division for all the scales. Then we will be very happy to receive any requests for making any sort of business or to attend any potential lead, from full open. It's very easy to contact us. Usually we have present in the big shows, also in the Intersolar and all of this. Then I think we are very accessible. No problem on that.
Amazing. Well, Antonio, thank you so much for everything today. It's been an incredible conversation. I wish you all the best conquering Europe at Greenvolt, and I look forward to watching your journey over the year to come.
No, thank you again. Thank you. I think that this program is very good and very, 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 very useful when you are trying to understand a lot of the things that we don't understand every day in the market. Privileged to be invited. Thank you, and I will wait to see myself as soon as you publish.
You get used to it, I would say. But thank you, and look, all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again for listening to the Hypercube Energy Podcast. As always, if you have any feedback or comments, or you want to get involved, please get in touch. And if you want to find out more about what's happening in data and AI across the energy sector, please join the Beyond Energy community. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.